Hey, what's up, y'all? It is Festus Amoye from Laddering Success. On this episode of Edu Steps, I get a chance to be the host with the most because the host that does the most is not here. But yeah, Olay's gone. He's on his first trip to the motherland, and so we're excited for him and to see what experiences he brings back from that, what kind of learning he brings back for that. So in the meantime, y'all just got to deal with us. And made a shout out to the Mr. Daniel Hill. Daniel Hill, everybody.
What's up, my guy? How you doing?
So we got D Hill in the building and the good doctor. He got the formula for whatever ails you. Dr. Crawford.
Hey, happy to be here with my brothers.
So this is our first episode of the summer, and we're excited to bring you this episode. This episode, we're titling The Cost of Comfort, Why Unstructured Summers Ruin Academic Progress. And so y'all parents know what it is, and myself included. I got little ones. So you know how it is what it says summertime, you know what I'm saying? You got the summertime going and you're trying to figure out what to do with your kids. There's all of these different programs, and this one costs that money and that one costs that money. And if you got more than one kid, you know what I'm saying? Now you're sitting here doing the math and you're trying to figure out, hey, can I afford to do anything this summer? And so this episode, we're going to talk to parents who want to be strategic or parents who are looking for clarity on what to do to make the most of summer. And so to give your child a completely unstructured, lazy summer, it's not a reward. It's actually an academic and financial setback. And the reason why that is you think that they're just resting, but actually during the summer months, they're just flushing down all the hard-earned math and reading skills, just flushing them down the drain. And so on this episode, we want to expose what the summer slide is, right? This is the actual term, the summer slide, and why an unmanaged break could cost your child their competitive edge and eventually their scholarship. And so this is to all the strategic parents out there watching. Prestige doesn't mean nothing if your child loses their discipline the second that the school bells ring. Families don't have a summer plan and have a calendar full of screen time, they are letting their child's brain go dormant during this time. And if you don't want your child's brain to go dormant during this time, they're not brain rotten, okay? Type structured in the chat, okay? Or type structured in a box, in the message box. Message us the word structured, okay? So now let's engineer some ingenuity, some intention into this. Okay, so sociological and academic data reveals that students lose an average of 2 months of mathematical skills over an unstructured summer break, widening the socioeconomic achievement gap. Okay, y'all heard that. It's 2 whole months of math loss. Okay, so if they did math for 8 months out of the year, because you got 2 semesters, 4 months and 4 months, they're losing almost a quarter of their academic progress. And so we got to put a stop to that. Okay, so we're going to start off with being. John Dewey noted that education is life itself. It doesn't just pause in June and restart in September. When a child spends 3 months really just reacting to entertainment and being totally unconscious, they become an inactive learner. And we're trying to create active learners. So the summer is a great time to work on their values, to work on their character, to work on their mental stamina, right? And so we don't want just siloed, passive living where it just breeds emotional vulnerability. And next, they're like, oh, mom, I'm bored. Oh, dad, I'm bored. And whatever pulls their fancy, they get pulled into that. So we need to build continuous summer mentorship habits, even when school's out. And y'all got to give me a break today. Okay, I got my allergies are allerging, right? We're in Houston. Okay, so summer shouldn't just be an escape from growth. It's your child's character, or your child's character requires classroom structure to stay intact. Okay, they haven't built their character yet. So we're going to work on building character. So in this episode, I'm going to throw a question to the fellas. Okay, here's the question. How do we shift a child's mindset from viewing summer as a complete operational shutdown to viewing it as a space for specialized, self-paced identity building? I'm going to ask that question again. How do we shift a child's mindset from viewing summer as a complete operational shutdown to viewing it as a space for specialized, self-paced identity building? So either one of y'all could tackle it. What we got?
Yeah, I think that comes from the parents during the summertime being very intentional with their child. And what I mean by being intentional with the child, how they're going to spend their time. So, what I mean by that is instead of, which is the norm for most kids, the summer is break from school, I'm laid back, relaxing, doing the things I love to do. Yes, definitely make the time for that, but at the same time, as the parent, this is where we start kind of see, hey, what are your interests outside of just having fun? Let's put them intentionally in spaces where they can have fun learning whatever that is. So there's so many programs like Hobby Lobby, not Hobby Lobby, but I can't think of the other stores where they have like Ace Hardware, like them type of stores. They have programs during the summer where they have the children, they come and they have wood and stuff and they can go build and things like that. And so it's programs like that where they're spending their time learning. They're like, oh, I'm really like into this, to the math that goes into engineering and structuring these little buildings and so on and so forth. So just putting them in programs where they can expand their learning and their creativity that includes them having fun as well.
Yeah, I think Crawford said the best. It's more about finding something that excites them instead of something that's just going to be like more just boring work. If you just get them doing more of the same boring work and not doing stuff like, so if you're stuff like building stuff, your child like build stuff, put him in something that builds what he learns. Like over the summer, he'll be excited about that. He's like, yeah, I'm actually at, I think he said Ace Hard. What did you say? At Home Depot somewhere, man. I'm over
Yeah,
building
that's
stuff.
what it was. Like Home Depot, I was tripping. I said Hobby Lobby. Appreciate you, Hill.
Home Depot where you're building stuff. Like even us, I think one time we learned how to. My brother learned how to lay tile for free. They teach you that stuff. Like you learn stuff you like to do, or if you computer stuff, you put them a computer program. Them kids gonna love that. They going to. But you just get them a tutor over the summer, and you give them more books, then they gonna be like and they ain't gonna learn nothing, and you just gonna burn them out. So I think being specific about what you put them in, like Crawford said, actually changes everything.
Man, I love that. I love that. And I love what you guys said, especially being educated yourself, to not just focus on more academics, but focus on putting what you learned academically to use in terms of something practical, but also just something that they're more interested in versus just another class to be in. So I love that. I love that. So let's talk about knowing. Let's talk about knowing. So there's a research from Johns Hopkins University that indicates that temporary summer learning loss is a cumulative burden accounting for up to 2/3 of the reading achievement gap by ninth grade. So you have to think about this, parents. If your child has zero plan for the summer, every single summer, and they're losing 2 months of math skills, they're losing up to 2/3 of their reading skills. By the time they get to ninth grade, they're 2/3 back from their counterparts. And high school is obviously a big deal here in the US, right? And we got an international audience. Just the fact of graduating high school or secondary school matters because that's where things get real competitive, right? And so if you're trying to earn scholarships for your children or you're trying to help them earn scholarships, having some kind of structured plan is really important. And so parents need to look past the superficial narrative of let kids be kids and grasp the substantive reality of cognitive decline. With over 5,000 digital marketing messages and media messages hitting your child daily, their brain will instantly dump school data if it isn't reinforced. Knowing is this fundamental truth allows us to cut through the noise and design targeted low stress interventions. So we're going to pause right here and we're going to talk to the clarity family. So that's these families where maybe I don't have a big plan, maybe I don't have a big budget. I'm just looking for clarity, right? Maybe as a parent, you're starting to realize, man, I have to do something different for my child. And so let's talk about this. How many hours a day does your child currently spend consuming media versus creating value? How many hours a day does your child currently spend consuming media instead of creating value? If you don't know the balance, then that's the loophole, right? That's the part where, again, your child can lose a lot in their future. And so information is cheap, but consistency is expensive. You don't need to turn your home into a military boot camp in June or July. You just need to realize that zero structure is a form of neglect. And so we don't want to neglect our children. So look, I'm going to throw this back to the panel with a quote from Maya Angelou. Now that I know better, I do better. And so when a parent realizes how severe the summer slide is, what are some basic substantive facts they should prioritize when looking for specialized mentoring or summer learning solutions? When a parent realizes the summer slide is happening, what are some basic facts they need to look for to prioritize that special mentoring or learning? So I'm gonna throw it to the guys. What we got?
I would say when they see that summer slide is happening, if they, depending on what their situation is, I would say look for summer programs that have a good overall mix. You have where it's not just drill and kill with academics. You do want to have some academic structure in there, but also on the explorative side as well, where kids are learning, but they're also enjoying themselves. But definitely look for those summer programs. And it could be hard depending on, I don't want to say hard, it could be different for each person's different financial situation and things of that. But look in the community, see what programs are going on in that community. If you can't get it all in one place, that's when you might have to split it up. Okay, hey, I do need to put my child in tutoring. Okay, I'm gonna make sure they have the tutoring side, but I also need to make sure I give the child that exploration side to where they can learn through exploration and fun and joy. So that would reinforce the academic skills that they have been learning through the year or that they're getting their tutoring in. And I would definitely say, if you're in a public school, look at the organizations that they have, whether it's extended day or whatever school summer programs that they may have that's not required where students have to go. I do know some school districts have summer programs where it is like ancillary to support the kids through fun and play, but it's just really looking in your community, seeing what options you have available, as well as you have the paid summer programs that you can finance as well.
Yeah, I'm with Crawford on that. There's so many different avenues you can take. There's like the school usually has a list of things where they can go and get things for free. A lot of people just don't go search them out. People just expect it to pop up, but you have to literally go search out what you need, what you don't need, and how to actually get everything that's going to help you. So that's the best avenue to go search out at your school, community. Shoot, you can chat GDP that thing and find out everything you need done for free.
And to add on to that, there's also colleges around that have camps for kids that they provide certain skills, whether it's a slide in math, reading, science. There's colleges around. You have to look it up for your area, but they do have camps for the kiddos.
And I love what both of you said is putting your child in the environment that they could possibly go into in the future. That's huge, right? In terms of, hey, if there's a reading camp at this school, let me go there. And I love what Daniel said about just, hey, look, ChatGPT isn't just for cheating in class. You know what I'm saying? It's also a great tool for figuring out what we're doing during the summer. So yeah, I love it. Okay. So there's some longitudinal studies that track students who participate in structured summer programs are 50% more likely to maintain high academic positioning in college track courses, right? So those who participate in structured summer programs do about 50% better than those who don't, who are on college track programs. So finally, let's talk about doing. Plans don't execute themselves. In the classroom, children are heavily supported and trained to react to deadlines, the bells, all of those different types of things. And summer is the ultimate test of independent execution and grit, right? Summer is where the true academicians or the true classroom heroes are made, right? Is true education must teach children to navigate a cold world by learning how to self-schedule, how to handle real world challenges, how to remain disciplined without a teacher hanging over them. And so summer is that time. And we're going to talk about the difference between pressure and purpose. Okay. Go ahead and comment P if your summer battle is pure pressure and you're trying to keep your kid caught up, or type U if you're moving towards having a purposeful layout. And then let's see where you stand, okay? So this is the last question for the guys, for the parents. Parents, you want to listen to this, okay? So crew, we know that poverty or lack of direction robs families of the belief that their daily actions matter. How can parents introduce small execution-based daily wins during the summer so that their children realize that their actions directly control their future success? I love this question. I love this question. So how can parents teach their children small execution daily wins control their future success?
Oh man, you asking these deep questions. I had to sit here and think about that. But off the bat, what comes to my mind, how do the small wins contributes to future success? The first thing that comes to my mind is parents who give their children chores, right? And so let's say it's daily chores. To a child, at that time, they might just view it as, I got to do these chores. I got to do these chores, right? But then when we look at how it leads to future success. So if I give a chore to a kid and say, hey, your chore is to clean your room, make sure your space is neat and things of that nature. So every single day they have to spend the time cleaning up, putting things back where they belong. If they continue that, eventually long term, that becomes a habit as well as a learned behavior and things of that nature. How can we apply that to academics and so on and so forth? It's the exact same thing. If we could instill in our children, hey, look, I know it's summertime, you had 8 months of school, but this is what we're going to do. We are going to come up with ways to where you are experiencing those same academics, but you're now, it's more focused on application. How can we apply it in the real world? All right, cool. You're struggling in math. Let's see how math translate into whatever the kid's interest is, and then they're into it and they having that experience. They can see right there, it's real life experience, like at Home Depot. Like I said, during the summer, they have these programs where the kids can go outside and they build certain things, right? That's math. You need to figure out the length, the amount of materials that you need, and so on and so forth. Right there, that's experiencing. Oh, so learning math does serve a purpose. And if I become good at this, if I'm interested in building things, I can apply this math into this. So it's like building those bridges of connections from the academics to the real world application. I just use math for example, but that's like all over the place. And so when we're sitting down with our kids and having the conversations of why it's important to do these things, not to just fill time, hopefully we can lead by modeling and implementation to where it becomes habit. I hope that made sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I was just thinking building small things daily. If you give them tasks from one summer to the next summer, okay, if you want to build this, okay, so we're going to build an engine this year. So today we're going to focus on this one thing. Next week or next day, we're going to focus on this. And by the end of a year or 2 years, you done built the engine and we have a student, his father teach him how to rebuild engine. They do. I went and saw it. It was the first time I ever been, bro. It was crazy where cars run into each other. I don't know what this called. Derby. I went and he talked about how he helped his father build it and work with it. But you can see how that has helped him learn different skills. So daily teaching a kid how to do this skill, like Crawford said, transfer to something else will help them build it in the long run.
Man, I love those answers, man. I love those answers. And the thing about it, I never even thought about the importance of chores. You know what I'm saying? And also the importance of those hobbies where you could take either a chore or a hobby and turn that into a whole new learning experience. So that's super dope. So y'all heard it right here, parents. So if you're a parent who needs a clear value system over chaotic stress, hit the subscribe button right now, okay? Every week, we break down the strategic truths that schools don't tell you, and we help you and your student ladder their success. And so, with that being said, we got Dr. Jamarc Crawford, we got Daniel Hill, we got myself, Festus Amoye. Normally, this is where Olay tells me, say the phrase that pays. So I'm gonna go ahead and say it. So there are legitimate excuses for not going to college. There's no legitimate excuse for not getting an education. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you on the next episode.